Hello, everybody. Hope everybody's having a good Saturday. I see there's quite a few people here already, and I'm glad that you are. Let me mute this telephone because I just got a message that said, "Hey, Hobo's live on YouTube." Okay, so hello, everybody. I see it. Chris said he's going to try and watch us on the road. Well, I hope you're not driving, brother. But be smart, be wise. Hello, one and all. We're going to have a little bit of fun tonight. This video was inspired by a photo that was shared in the Facebook group, Hobo with Wood group on Facebook. I forget, I don't know if it was Tim or Don or who, somebody shared a photo of a frame that they had cut out. And I think that one had two trees, or the silhouettes of trees that were part of, or the tree trunks came into the picture and then back out and then were engraved on the frame. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. I like that. And there was some comments about, hey, we'd like to see that done. I said, it'd actually probably be pretty simple to do. And it is, but you got to think. You got to turn on that switch and get that noggin working. Get everything lubricated, and I'm going to show you just the basic techniques that you're going to need to know to do. And this is how I figured out how to do it. Does that mean it's the only way to do it? Does it mean it's the right way to do it? Does it work? And anybody that wants to comment or make snide remarks about, oh, that's wrong, you ain't doing it right. Well, it works. It works. It works for me. And I think this is pretty simple. And for those who addressing Lightburn version 1.7 and its variants. I had mentioned several weeks ago, you'd seen lots of people in the Rolly Automation group complaining about all the problems they were having with version 1.7 after they downloaded 1.7, having camera problems and their preferences were gone, all kinds of issues. And I'm like, okay, well, I hadn't downloaded it yet. I'm not going to. And so I held off. I figured I'd wait to at least 1.7.01. And it came out and people were still complaining. And I'm like, okay, we'll hold off a little bit longer. I reached out finally, get my chair right. I reached out this week to Joe with the Lightburn support group and ask him about, because I seen 1.7.03 had already been released. And I'm like, wow. And those, normally you don't see updates quite that quick, not that many that quick. And I just reached out and I said, hey, have we killed all the gremlins yet? And he wasn't aware of that many gremlins. He knew that they knew there was an issue with some of the cameras, and I think that was what 01 was about, was to fix the camera issue. I invited them to come on, but I emailed him and Joe, and I went completely blank right now. Anyway, two of them that I talk with occasionally, but one of them turns out he's actually in Holland or somewhere else. He's not in this time zone. This would be like 3 a.m. And so not a good time for him. And I'm actually jealous of Joe. Joe had he said he would be here, except he already had prior commitments and he was doing a marching band competition with I guess his child or family member. And when he said that, I was like, man, I'm jealous, because those were some fun times. Anybody that was in the marching band, you can attest to that. Competitions were always a blast, because there was this one time at band camp. Oh, my. Anyway, Joe said he might try to pop in later, but I doubt he will, because that can be an exhausting day, traveling and putting up with a whole bunch of high schoolers, especially if you're not one of the high schoolers, and even if you are sometimes. But we're going to look at the basic techniques of making that frame where it has some pieces that come out and overlap over the photograph. And I'll show you a couple of designs. I'm not going to actually go into a very specific design tonight. Otherwise, it could be a lengthy process because while the steps are really, really simple, the more artifacts you bring in that you want to integrate into it, then the more complicated it gets, and it just can take some time. And we're not going to do another 5-hour stream. No, we're not. Nope. So let's see here. We got a couple of rednecks in the house, and for any new viewers here, just know that when I refer to rednecks, I'm a redneck. Rednecks, I look at their general. It's a locale thing. They're local folks. We got Jack in the shop in here, and who else did I see? Bill Coleman's in here. They're actually in the same county I'm in, and I think there might be a couple more in here. But those are my local rednecks, and thank you guys for being here. And I seen we had some Yankees in here too, and Yankees are a whole nother breed of character. I got family members that are Yankees, and I love them anyway. Let's see here. And hey, there's Tim. Tim's in the house. I actually connected with Tim today, this afternoon, and helped him with some questions he had. He posted in Rolly Automation, said, "Hey, what about?" And I said, "Let's just chat." And we connected and got some stuff figured out and straightened out. And John, I helped him or talked with him yesterday and talked with him and his wife. They went up to, or she did. He didn't go to the Ark in Kentucky, and I went there, and that was a. If you've never been, and it's an interesting trip. I've talked about it before in the stream, and it is definitely worth the trip to go to the Ark experience up in Kentucky. Scrolling on down here, and while I'm looking here, if you just a couple of regular things, if you have questions during this stream, precede your question with 3 question marks, then post your question. And if you have just a comment that you definitely want me to address and to read aloud, put 3 exclamation points out there. That lets me know. It says, "Hey, look at this." If I'm doing something wrong, you've got a suggestion, and I welcome that. I do welcome. I don't want to hear, "Hey, you're doing that wrong," but if you got a better way, show me. Because there was 2 Saturdays ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I learned 2 new things in that stream, and I was so thankful for it. And if you do learn something new in this stream, just if you see, for newcomers, you'll see people posting numbers: 1, enter; 2, enter. Just a number. Anytime you learn a new trick, put in a number. Say, "Hey, I learned something." That just keeps the stream going and lets the algorithm know that we are involved, even if we are in just soaked in and soaking it all in. Let's see here. Looking. And Edward says, what did Edward say? Where'd he go? I think that was the first comment I seen. "Good evening, everyone. Nice haircut." Yep. I got my first professional haircut in probably 2.5 years this week. And I decided to clean up a little bit and just said, "Let's go flat top." Where's your number? I don't know what you're referring to there, Dale. Where's your number? Okay. All right. So I think we got some of the regular house cleaning stuff out of the way. And this up here is the finished piece that I did, demonstrating the designs that we did. And there is a close up, and this is what I was talking about, where you get these artifacts that drop down into the picture frame, but they're integrated with part of the artwork up top. And I'll go over to a digital picture so it shows up better. Done and switch. So that, and you can see it there. That part of the shadow I actually left on there and cut out. So you've got that, and it's up top too. But I'm going to demonstrate how to get this integrated in with the frame. And I'm going to show you how to create these 3D illusions with simple designs like this. This ribbon. This ribbon looks like this is all one layer. And at initial glance, that ribbon almost looks like it's popping out and coming out at you. And I'm going to show you a real simple trick on how to make that illusion take place. So let's see here. Okay. And I've got to go. And I need to bring this up too. Before I jump into Lightburn. If you are a member on YouTube, there were, I think, 67 people who signed up as members on YouTube. And people did that to help me hit a bonus spiff that YouTube had present or had available. And that's over. So if you make sure you've been billed for 3 months on your YouTube membership. It'd been 3 months at $9.99 or $10. Cancel your YouTube membership if you've been billed 3 times. If you haven't been billed 3 times yet, wait till you've been billed that 3rd time and then cancel it. And I'm going to get the t-shirts out to everybody, the 67 people who signed up. If you didn't sign up and you want one of these new t-shirts when they come out, you can just buy a t-shirt, because that's what this amounts to, is 3 months pays for the t-shirt and the shipping to you. And I'm redesigning the t-shirt. It's going to have my Hobo logo on the Hobo silhouette in the center. And I'm just going to put Hobo Nation across the top of him, and then Laserologist underneath him. The ones I wear say Hobo with wood, check out my wood. I figured just Laserologist might be more appropriate, and more, some women might think it's funny to wear a t-shirt that says Hobo with wood or Hobo Nation, check out my wood. But I got a feeling that the majority would probably just as soon say Laserologist. So if you've been billed 3 months, cancel your YouTube membership, because that we don't want to do. I encourage you to go over, if you're not, go to patreon.com/hobo or with wood and become a supporter there. We'll put that up there. But yeah, cancel the YouTube membership if you've been billed 3 months. And then one thing I didn't do last week that I had in the thumbnail, and I kicked myself for not mentioning it, but I put in there on the thumbnail, give away your products to your local area. Give them away to generate interest and also to generate some revenue. I've started posting, and some of you have friended me in Facebook. And if you've sent me a friend request and I haven't accepted it, then there wasn't enough information for me to go, oh, okay, there's too many people sending out fake stuff. So if you sent me a friend request and I didn't accept it, don't take it personal. It was either some settings or something that just didn't look like your account was real or possibly fake. But I did another video this week on the Genmitsu little kiosk laser, and what I did was the little ID tags, and I had several different shapes. I had the military style, the dog bone style, and while I needed to test all this, I'm like, I don't want to test this stuff and just waste it. So I post on my Facebook group for locals, for local folks, pick up only, free ID tags, dog tags, whatever. And, and get some attention going that way and people talking about it, and then say, hey, for the first 4 or 5 people that post, I'll give these to you. And that way you don't waste your material. You get to learn, test your new products, whatever you're doing, and get those out there. And then people start talking, and a good way to get noticed and get your name out there for what you're doing. So now, without further ado, looking. Okay, Chris says, if you have been a member 3 months, the logo will be yellow and black. Okay. Did not know that. Did not know that. So thank you, Chris. So if you're a YouTube member and your logo is yellow and black, you can go ahead and cancel that. And we are going to be, is that, yeah. What I'm going to do is, and before, and certain things, I'm like, okay, this is only going to be a 48 US state giveaway only, but not tonight. Tonight, it's going to be a giveaway. Anybody in the stream can win. I don't care where you're at. I don't care if you're on the North Pole. Anybody can win this tonight. And because I'm not actually designing a piece from start to finish, but more just showing you the techniques, because these I feel like are going to be really, really personal as far as what appeals to you, what do you find aesthetically pleasing. So I want to give you the how-tos and the what to watch out fors, and then I'm going to give away this one. And to show it to you again, switch. That's the piece, and I put the cranks on there because it's the joke. If Christmas with the Cranks, if you haven't seen it, I recommend going and watching it. It's not now though. Wait till we're done. But Christmas with the Cranks is a funny movie. I like Tim Allen. I like just about anything that Tim's in, especially with all of his different Christmas movies. But Christmas with the Cranks, and this is set up for a 5x7. And the way it works, I've got an alligator clip on the back for it to hang. I'm not going to bother making an easel and send an easel with you. If you're a laserologist, you can make your own easel if you don't want to use something like that, or you can just hang it. But it'd be funny to have a family photo this year at Christmas time, and everybody get together and maybe put on something stupid, silly hats, do whatever, and make a funny photograph. And it's Christmas with the Cranks. But I'm going to give this away to somebody in the stream. And again, open to anybody. I'll ship it wherever we got to go. Okay. So without further ado, let's jump into Lightburn. And in fact, I'm just for giggles, go away. I'm gonna pull up real quick the photograph that was shared in the Hobo with Wood Facebook group. The one that started this ball rolling. Let's see here. There it is. Okay. And switch. So this was the photograph that started all this. And that was Don that posted it. I don't know if Don created that or if Don bought that. Don posts some really neat stuff in the group. But when I seen that, I was like, I like that. I like that a lot. So I was like, I'm going to figure out how to do it and then show how to do it. And there are some things to watch out for. And even on this one, Don's got here, that part of the branch right there got really, really thin and almost burned away. And it looks like there might have been a branch right here that did get burnt away. So I'm going to show you that. And here too, I'm going to show you what there to look for. And I'm going to put the stream says yellow and black have been members for 2 months and 8 days. All right. So I guess it's different, but before you cancel your membership, just if you want the free t-shirt, just make sure you've been on there free. You do your 3 months that we talked about and then cancel your membership. Okay. And then Chris is coming back at you. Catherine says that, yeah, it means you've made your third payment. So maybe you've made 3 payments, but you've just make sure you've been billed 3 times. That's all. I just don't want you to get billed a 4th time and the reason I'm saying cancel this, YouTube takes too much of the percentage. YouTube, I think, is taking like 20% of that money, and Patreon does not take that much. Patreon, I think, is 12 or 15, but it's less than 20. So if you want to be a supporter at 10 a month, go over and be a bronze supporter on Patreon. I get more of that money, and it doesn't go in YouTube's pockets. They're already getting enough off of all the ads they run. All right, now close that and get Lightburn open up. Let me put my marker in here so I can mark where we at in the comments. There we go. And again, I'm not going to go into great detail in an actual design, but go over the techniques and switch. All right. So a couple of things about designing for a photograph. Are you going to design for a 4x6 or a 5x7? It all depends on, how much you want to sell it for, how much you want to make. 4x6s are really, really popular as far as, if anybody's even printing photographs anymore. But if you're going to hang and display them, most of the time it's 5x7s. So I'm going to set up a 5x7 template. I'm just going to draw out a rectangle, and I'm going to put it in inches, and I'm going to go landscape. I'm going to go 7 by 5 with the unlock, and now lock that back. Now that I'm going to put on the red toolpath, because that is actually the 5x7 photograph. And when you're doing a picture frame, you don't want the front face of the frame to be that large, because the picture has to be able to sit behind it. So I'm going to come in and do an offset of that. And I'm only going to do about 1/8 of an inch inner offset. Do not delete the original. Select that inner one and put it on a red path. That's going to be my inner cut piece. And now my photograph will sit 1/4 inch or 1/8 of an inch behind it, a total of 1/4 all the way around. All right. Now I'm going to take that piece I just did the offset, and I'm going to do another offset, but this time I'm going to go outward, and I'm going to give it, and this is a quick and easy way to cheat your corners. I'm going to go outer, and I'm going to go an inch outer, or 25.4 millimeters. And I don't want it to have the corners, and I don't want to have to use the radius tool. I'm just going to tell it right now, go round. And it's going to give me a nice radius all the way around. Okay. Don't delete the original. Keep it. Now that's the outer perimeter. There's my inner perimeter of the frame. While I've got it, before I group it, I'm going to say Control D, duplicate that, and then move it out of the way, because that is my back. This will be a 3-layer design. So that's going to be the back layer. That's going to be what glues up on the outside while they're on the very back. Now, while they're still separate, I'm going to take that one and I'm going to Control D. No, I'm not going to do that one. I lied to you. I'm going to go to my toolpath, and I'm going to duplicate that toolpath, the actual 5x7. Duplicate that toolpath, and then I'm going to take that toolpath and just stretch it out past the outer perimeter. Now I'm going to select the inner piece. No, I'm not. I'm going to select the outer, and then hold my shift button and select that toolpath. And I can't remember if I don't want to do cut shapes. I want to do Boolean. And I'm going to subtract A, subtract B, which is this one down here. And I've noticed something funky. If you see, I've got my mouse here. I've got a pointer, and I just downloaded 1.7.03, and this wasn't doing this before. So this is something that's kind of funky. I lose my pointer when I roll over these options. Now there it's back. The pointer just came back. You see that? It wasn't a pointer. Now it is a pointer. I don't know why it's doing that. It's never done it before, but I digress. So the outer perimeter, hold my shift button, select the toolpath, and subtract it. Now that quick, and actually, you know what? I didn't duplicate that. Undo. Well, I got it over here. So I'm going to take this and I'll just move it out of the way. That's the spacer that's going to be, that's layer 2. I'm going to duplicate that back and then put it back over the center of this. There we go. So there's my face, there's my backboard, and there's my spacer. And if this is a 5x7 photograph, I'll be able to take and slide that right into that pocket, and it'll fit in there nice and snug. So now I've got my frame I'm going to work with. I'm going to add those features to it. And before I go any further, I'll just look and see real quick. Anybody lost? Nope. Okay, we're good. All right. Because that's really simple. No big deal. Everybody's done all of that. Making another remark. All right. Now, to start adding features to this, sometimes you're going to subtract things. Sometimes you're going to weld things. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to select my inner and my outer. And you know what? I meant to do this before I went live, and I didn't do it because I've been doing so many things all at one time. And oops, where did I go? Switch. I do this a lot, and this might be something. Squirrel. You're working on something, the project's not finished, but you've got to get out of here for a second. You got to come. Now, Lightburn automatically saves your projects. Even if you haven't named it, it's in there and it's saved in a temporary name. I've done a video showing that, and we can look at it at another time, but it's there already. But if you aren't aware of that, don't know exactly where to go to, you haven't saved it, and you don't want to go to the trouble of setting up a folder and saving everything, because this is just work in progress. Well, I have a folder in my art library I've abbreviated WIP, work in progress. And I'm just going to select every bit of that, and I'm going to tell it to import graphic from project, and I'm going to call it frame WIP, just for right now, frame WIP. And I can't see them. I've got the wrong glasses on. Excuse me while I change my glasses. Here we go. I got one pair of glasses to see and one pair of glasses to read. Frame WIP. There we go. Frame WIP. Okay. And now I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to go up here and I'm going to open up a new version, or I don't want to do with that. Cancel that. I want to open a new window. And opening up a new window will open up a whole new version of Lightburn. And I can go to my art library, go down to WIP, and bring in frame WIP there. And there's all my stuff. I didn't have to go in and recreate it all. I had some other things in there that had multiple layers, and I did not want y'all to see all those layers yet, but I needed to have access to them, so that's why I did that. So I didn't prepare in advance. So let's bring this guy back down here and back to the designing. So I've got my original inner perimeter and my original outer perimeter, and I'm holding my shift button. I've got them both selected, and now I'm not grouping them. I'm going to hit Control D, duplicate it, Control D, duplicate it. Now it's duplicated and the duplication is selected. I'm going to put it on a toolpath. I'm going to put it on T2. And now I'm going to come over here to my layers, and I'm going to cut off. I'm not going to show T2. It's there, but you can't see it anymore. Now with that going, and like I said, I'm not going to bother with a bunch of actual artwork. We're going to work with basic geometric shapes so that you can see the technique. Once you get the technique down, then you can start going and grabbing whatever artwork you're wanting to do. But with this technique, learning the technique. I'm going to show you the pitfalls, what to watch out for, and then you can start bringing in all your own, creations. What your brains? Oh, I think I want to do this. You can be used for all kinds of themes. So, and why I'm stopped here, let's see, are there any questions since I put that mark in there? There it is. Already got some numbers. Hey, cool. I have so many projects on my computer. I have an entire set of directories that I use to keep everything organized and separated. When I finish the project, it goes into a nice organized saved. I've got my e-commerce and my own personals and that. But when it's just a work in progress, like that little short, I'm not going to go to the trouble of setting all that up and saving all that yet, because I don't know what I might call it, what I might do. So I'll just throw it over there and then bring it in as need be. There are, would it stay in easier if it slid in from the top? It'd stay in easier if you're living in California and you got a lot of earthquakes and things are shaking all the time and your walls are getting messed up. Would it stay in better? Potentially, but if you get a good time, and when you buy a regular picture frame, you've got your glass, you've got your picture, and then a lot of times there'll be some cardboard or some paper, and then your backing piece to help lock it in place, and that keeps everything good and tight. Well, you can do the same thing with this. This one I did do from the side, and I've got that cardstock in there, and it ain't coming out. The glitter's coming out as I shake it. Glitter's coming out as I knock it. But there we go. If I grab it and start pulling on it, it will come out. And eventually that'll slide out. But what I don't have in here right now, and I will include with the giveaway, is I've got a 5x7 photo protector, a clear protector that will go in there too. So that protector is going to take up space. Your photograph's going to take up space. And if you need to make it a little bit tighter, you put a little bit of cardstock in there and make it firm, and it's not going to come out. The reason I went with the side slot on this one was because I didn't want to see it at the top, because if this was displayed, on there, you're more likely to see the top of the frame than you are going to see the side of the frame. So it's choice. There ain't no right way. Ain't no wrong way. And you're seeing what I did to put the slot in the side. If you want the slot in the top, you just make yours and then stretch it up top and cut it out there. And now you got the slot in the top. Easy peasy. Not a wrong way, not a right way. Using the art library for work in progress is genius. I don't know how many times I lost a project. LOL. You actually did not lose it, Jonathan. Even if you never named it and you never saved it, it's there. Lightburn saves the work you're doing. It saves it automatically. It's already saved. And we demonstrated that in one of the last live streams. I think it was when Joe was with us last time from Lightburn. But Lightburn does auto save your work. It's never truly gone. Now you might have made an extra 3 or 4 steps or more between the times that it auto saves, but you didn't lose all of it. And go into Lightburn, because I'm not going to get derailed today, but go into Lightburn support, or the switch. Go into the help and online documentation and search for autosave. The autosave feature you should be able to find there in the help documentation, and you never truly lose your work, even if you haven't named it and saved it. All right, come on. All right, marking my spot and moving on. All right, switch. All right, so now I've got my inner perimeter and my outer perimeter on my cut layer. And if I turn that off and look at, there it is on a toolpath. The orange toolpath is the actual size of the photograph. It's not needed for anything else during this design process, except we know it's there. And whenever we start to do any, as long as we just add to this inner perimeter, it won't be a problem. But if you decide you want to get creative and you're actually going to start subtracting material from the inner piece of this, then you need to know how big your photograph's going to be. Because if you cut away from this frame and cut out past your photograph, then you're going to see the edge of your photograph and then the very back or the backing material you have behind the photograph. So that's the only reason that toolpath's even there. So back to showing our red, turn off our toolpath. Now, as I said, I'm not going to bother with any actual designs or shapes or artwork. I'm just going to, and I did that on the toolpath. So let's put it on a red layer so we can see it. There we go. I'm just going to generate a shape, and we'll do an offset of that and delete the original. Say, okay. All right. So now I've got this weebly woe dingbat thing. I'm going to group it for now. And I want to put half of this design right there in the middle, right there. I want to have that half overlapping. In fact, I want to bring that in because so we don't have it off the outer perimeter. All right. So I want to have this extend into the frame, and this would be engraved on top of the frame. So to do that, we're going to need this shape multiple times. So now that I've got that selected and it's grouped at this moment, I'm going to hit Control D again. And guess what I'm going to do with it? I'm going to put it on the blue toolpath. And the blue toolpath's already turned off, so it just disappeared out of sight. But because that's what's selected, if I start moving anything, what I'm moving and changing is that toolpath we can no longer see. So deselect what's selected now. And now I want to create, in fact, now this, write down bookmark 38 minutes and 10 seconds, because this is where you're going to get hung up or messed up and go, why do I know that? Because I went so many times figuring this out until I was like, okay, got to remember, do this first. As in, when using a lot of the tools in Lightburn, priority is everything. There's always more than one way to do things, but sometimes the priority is the most important thing. And if you don't, you can accomplish the same goal doing different steps and different orders of priority. But I don't think this one is one that is I think this one's an absolute about trying to, well, no, you could still do this multiple ways, but this is one of the simpler ways that I found to do it. You can do it with node editing. You can do it with a whole bunch of different things. So there's always another way. And sometimes there's even a better way than what I showed you. But as my shirt says, trust me, I'm perfect. Not. But there are some creators out there who like to let you think they are. So I'm being as humble as I can, saying, hey, there might be a better way. And my feelings aren't hurt if you go, you know what? This would work and might even work easier, because I am one of the laziest guys you'll ever meet. And I do embrace the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid. Even though some of my designs can get a little bit, I try to do them as simple as I can. So this is crucial. You want to create your lines that you're going to engrave first. And the reason for that is because once you weld the design to the inner piece, or you subtract it actually, and create that tree that's coming up through the frame or whatever it's going to be, a tree, a snowflake, Christmas ball, whatever. Once you weld that perimeter of that shape to that inner piece, and I say weld, actually we're going to be subtracting. Once you subtract that shape from that inner rectangle, it's a whole lot more difficult to get your engraved lines. So do your engrave, whatever you're going to engrave on the outer perimeter, do that first, okay? And let's see here, questions, comments before I move on. Definition of perfect. Other won't always see the faults. Others won't always. Okay. All right. Now, making my mark. Moving on. Now, switch. So I want these lines here to be engraved. And then this is going to be welded or subtracted from that inner piece. And to do that, I've already made my duplication and turned off that duplication. So this is, I'm going to, from this inner line here out and around, I want to have on another layer and it be engraved. So if I take that and then and remember, I've duplicated everything already and it's all on the toolpath. So this was one of the originals, and I hold my shift button and I select that inner perimeter, and I'm going to use cut shapes or Alt Shift C. If you don't remember Alt Shift C, it's right here, cut shapes. Alt Shift C. Now what that's done is it's cut, and you see my inner perimeter's gone. That's okay. I've got a copy on my toolpath, and this has left these here, and it's left them open, and we want them to be open. These are now trash. So I'm going to click on them and delete them. I don't need them anymore. I'm going to select these, and I'm going to put them on another layer that's going to be engraved and not cut out. So that's another layer. And right now, those are single lines. And put it in line mode. There we go. So, no, I didn't put it in line mode. Put it in line mode. Good. All right, so those are single lines. And I want to show you a trick about that in a minute too. Because a single line, depending on your laser, especially if you're working with a 5-watt or a lower power laser, a single line engraved will get lost depending on how you finish it and how, so we're going to make those more prominent with a real simple trick in a minute. But first, let's get our pieces back that we're missing. I'm missing the inner part of that, and I'm missing the inner part of the inner perimeter. So I'm going to turn my toolpath back on. Now, toolpath back on, I've got all of them showing, but I just need to duplicate this one. I'm going to hold that and select those and grab that one, Control D, and put them on the red layer again and turn my toolpath back off. So now I've got those pieces back. Now I want to weld this. No, I don't. And I'm going to show you this in fill mode so it might make more sense to you. And I keep saying weld, but we're not welding this. You can weld it, but I'm not going to weld it. I'm going to subtract it. If I was to group the inner and the outer perimeters, and then I could weld that piece in. But the reason I'm using subtract is because if you're using a design that overlaps, if you've got a piece of artwork that's larger, once you position it where you want it to be in the frame, if it's larger than the overall width of your frame and part of your artwork extends beyond the outer perimeter, you can't use weld, because when you use weld, it will do what I did, and I did this intentionally, obviously, where I've got the C up on the top and on the bottom. And we don't want that here. We want everything to be inside the frame. So we need to use subtract. And you can have a design that goes, it can go all the way, it can be 5 times larger. And if we use the subtract from the inner diameter or the inner perimeter, it doesn't matter how big it is. And I'll show you that now. So, in fact, just for giggles, I'm going to duplicate this, Control D, duplicate every bit of that. And I'm going to bring it over here and show you what I speak about. Here is the inner, here's the outer, and I'm going to group those. Then I'm going to grab that right there, and I'm going to stretch it out. Obviously, they ain't going to line up anymore, but I'm stretching that out. Now, that's grouped, and that's grouped. So if I was to take that and that, come on, there we go, and weld it, well, it gives me that inner piece I want, but now I've got this. And like I said, depending on what you want, that may be what you're after. It'll give you that outer piece. And that's what I did for the top of that C in Christmas. But I don't want that in this case. I'm only wanting that inner piece. So to do that and to help you see this, just for giggles, I'm going to put this. So this is for illustration purposes. I'm going to put this on another layer, and we'll put it in fact, let me get a good contrasting color. There we go. Well, that's not a good contrasting color. Green is. All right, and it's in fill. That's good. And then I'm going to put this one in another one in fill, and we'll do ugly gray. I'm doing this just so you see this, because this is what I struggled with a lot when I was first trying to figure out which ones did what. Now, to bring that green layer to the front and up on top of that, all I did was change its order in the priority over here. If I moved it down the priority, it actually moves it behind the other layer. So I'm bringing it up front so we can see it. So now with that gray, that's a solid piece of wood. If you were to cut that out, that's going to fall out, and you're going to have a nice solid piece there. Well, so what you want to do is you want to subtract your artwork that you're wanting to add to the frame from that inner piece. So if I select my green layer and hold my shift button and select the gray layer, and now you've got your option over here, which is A subtract B, and that's where priority comes into place. A subtract B. A is the first piece you pick. B is the second piece you pick. And you hit subtract. And that went onto a funky layer we can't see. Where did it go? Did it go on the toolpath? Yeah, there it is. Now I'll put that back on the red layer. Or no. Come on. What did I do? Where did it go? I was looking at a comment over here, and I'm just going to address it because it's bugging me. The new scissor feature will make this quicker and easier. I only need one duplicate of the shape. Trim one, subtract the other from the frame. Yes and no, Jonathan. I've got the scissor feature here too, but when you clip it, it doesn't close it. And when you go to weld this up, like I'm trying to do there, and I'm doing too many things and trying to read, and I'm going to put that back and put that back there. And I'm not that well versed in the scissor feature yet, because I finally mastered nodes. Man, I can whip through nodes like crazy. But I do like the trim feature with the scissors and just be able to clip it and snip it and clip it. But you can't weld open shapes or subtract open shapes. So I could not figure out a quick and simple, easy way to do it with the scissors. I might in a couple of weeks figure it out, but the scissors is new to all of us, and I don't know that it will work as efficiently as what I'm trying to do here. I don't know that. I ain't saying that it won't. I just don't know that. So back to doing what I was doing. I got A, subtract B, and now that's welded up. This is going to engrave, and I'm going to turn off that inner toolpath so it's not confusing everybody. So now when that cuts out, if we go to preview, that's going to cut out and fall away. That's an engrave. And you've got your artwork protruding into your picture frame, whatever it is you're wanting to put on there. Oh, look at that. Let me put this in here. One, and I put my one in there. Mark says if you cut shapes in fill mode, it will automatically close all shapes to maintain the fill. You know what? I seem to maybe have recalled knowing that, but I've been so long since I do all my editing in line mode and not fill that I actually forgot that. So thank you, Mark, for that. That is correct. But I do all my design work and all of my editing in line mode, and so that's why it wasn't front and foremost in. But yes, if you were editing, and I imagine, in fact, and you guys are gonna we're gonna. But again, this goes to I haven't played with it enough yet to know exactly. So we're not even going to go down that path yet. But yes, if you cut shapes in the filled mode, it will keep it filled when you cut. I just don't know how to work that with the scissors yet. We'll figure it out. I'll do a video once I really fully embrace the scissors. I love my nodes. I love working in node editing. But once I fully embrace that and I've got a really good grasp on it, I'll share everything I've learned about it. And there'll be several of you who have already know more than I do, and I may never catch you. All right, so there we have our cutout. And if I turn this off, so now you can see that. So that's going to cut out and have that artifact, whatever it is, a tree, Christmas ball, whatever. And you'll get that cut out. And then you're going to have your lines to engrave here. But now, I told you a minute ago that this is in line mode because that's what it is. That's a single line right there. And it's not going to be that dark or wide and can get lost. And you could do several passes with it at a low speed to make it as dark as possible and as deep as possible so that if you sand it and finish it, it doesn't get lost. But what I did to make that more prominent and more visible, just those lines that I want to engrave, I went over to my offset tool, and you need to know your laser. You need to know what your approximate spot size is on your laser. With the Rolly Lasermatic MK2 in the 10-watt mode, they say its approximate spot size is 0.08. And that's what you'll find in a lot of your 10 watts, but not always, but a lot of them. And if you're using the 30 watt, it's going to be bigger. And the 30 watt, when you're trying to do these little lines and stuff like that, it might be too big. Or I don't know. But I did all of this in the 10 watt when I did all the artwork. But you need to know what your spot size is. And in this case, it's a 0.08 approximate spot size. So when I select my lines and I come in here to the offset, I'm going to do both an inward and outward, and I'm going to tell it to do 0.04. And I'm going to tell it to delete the original objects. Now, if we zoom in tight, you can see what that's done. 0.04 in both directions should, in theory, that should be 0.08 millimeters. And that should be about the size of your spot size. But you see how much bigger that is than just a regular straight line? And it works. It makes a difference. I'm going to delete the originals. And now that closed those up, and I'm going to put it in fill mode instead of in line mode. And that is not noticeable whenever it cuts out. And you say, oh, well, that looks like that might be a little bit. That just works. It works better. It worked for me. It worked great on all the test pieces I did. So those are my tips for doing this piece here. And being the nutcase that I am, in my first piece, my first design, I tried to do too much. Can you believe that? Can you believe that I tried to make something a little bit elaborate? And what I didn't know, and what I'm going to share with you now, are the pitfalls to try and avoid and what to look for. And you've seen them in the photograph I showed you in Facebook where Don did the trees, and it looked like some of the tree limbs or the branches were just burnt completely away. Well, this was my first piece. This was my first design. And it's a little bit much. It's got snowflakes in three of the corners. Got a Christmas tree down over here. I kept this Christmas, but then the reindeer and the Santa and all that, and that was a lot of work. That was a lot of work, and it didn't look good. It didn't turn out. It's too much. It was too busy, and I just wanted to. I wanted to try these new techniques and do, but a lot of things about this are bad. It's big, and it's not so big that, I mean, if you were going to display it on the mantle or whatever, it wouldn't be obtrusive. But this large uses a tremendous amount of your material on a 12 by 12 or 300 by 300 piece of material, and you're left with a whole lot of waste. And if you're going to be making these to sell, then you're not leaving yourself a lot on your skeletons. And you could, I don't know that you can get two cutouts of a 5x7 frame on a single piece of wood, but this, once it was cut out, it was real. The skeleton didn't have any meat left on it. It was just toast. And then the star, I had the same problem where, yeah, there it is. And I'll zoom in here. Oh, not zoom. I'll focus. There we go. You can see the star. It got burnt away. The top of that valve just about burnt away. So what you have to be aware of whenever you're looking at the artwork you're going to put in, there were some things about the snowflake I didn't care for. That little bitty piece right there in the front didn't get cut out the corner because it was inside or outside the frame of the toolpath for the photograph. And depending on how you design, and I'm trying to get the focus just right here. I keep pushing the camera away as I focus. Way to go, dum-dum. There we go. If you create enough of an overlap with your, where your picture is going to be, I could have actually cut out that little bitty triangle, because then what you would have seen behind it would be just a little bit of photograph. It wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But you want to be careful that you don't cut out past where your photograph's going to extend. But this turned out to be just too much. And this is why I didn't want to show you the other desktop. And we're going to do that now, because I'm going to show you now. We're an hour in. I'm going to show you how I took that project that was it wasn't a complete bust. There were some things about it that I really liked, and I did not want to go through that whole redesigning process or undo. And because I'm like, okay, well, I would undo part of this. I want to do it. So we're going to show you this. Okay. So Armstead, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. This may be your first or second video, because I addressed this in the opening of the videos. Whenever somebody learns a new tip or trick, I ask viewers to put a comment. Just, is that the third thing you've learned today? Is it the fourth thing you've learned in this video? And all of those are just to keep the algorithm awake. It lets YouTube know that you are here, you are watching, and you are involved. And it lets me know that you're learning something. So if 105 people are sitting there and soaking this all in, and everybody's learned 4 or 5 new things, but no one's posting anything, no one's commenting anything, I'm going, Am I wasting my time? Is anybody there? Did everybody fall asleep? What's going on? So it lets me know you're here, you're involved, you're learning, and it lets YouTube know that you're here, you're involved, and it helps with the algorithm. The more comments that are out there, the more active everybody is, the more it all helps, or so I'm told. So that's what that's all about. So we covered that again. Thank you, and thank you again for being here. Now let's go back over to the other light burn, and I'm going to show you that design, what I didn't like about it, how easy it is to get rid of it without having to scrap the entire piece and then start making a few modifications. And I'm going to show you how to create the illusion of 3D or a shadow effect. Real easy, real simple, no grayscales, no just it's a real simple trick. I've done it with fonts, but you can do it with images too, and we're going to look at that. All right, so I'm going to mark my spot. In fact, I need to go back up to my other spot. There's Edward 3 in my spots, and make sure I didn't miss any questions. Okay, yeah, there's Mark's comment about the cut shapes. Yes, so and good. No questions. Oh, and also Armistat, like I did see your comments. And you guys have all the conversations you want. You solve all the world's problems. Do whatever you want to talk about. Keep it clean. But if you have a very specific question that you want my attention to address that question, or you have a comment going, "Hey, dum-dum, you can do it like this." Precede your comments that you want me to see with 3 exclamation points. Precede your questions with 3 question marks. Because if everybody is active in that chat, and I do like to see that, I also want to know that you guys are learning and not just talking about, solving the world's problems. I don't read all those comments. So seeing the exclamation points and seeing the question marks brings it to my attention, and I'll get to it. All right, so now I've marked my spot. Oh, no, there's 3 exclamation points. My numbers tell me how many times I'm going to need to rewatch this video. Get me choked up and I don't have my RC. Oh, my goodness. Well, that helps me too. When you're watching the rewatch, you can always go back and watch the live streams on a replay. Oh, okay. Let's jump over to Lightburn and the other version and how to correct and change without having to scrap everything. And then we're going to add the shadow effect. All right. So I'm going to close this one. I don't need to save anything. Discard. All right, now, so here is what I didn't want you to see earlier. Here, and here's all those layers that I've got going on, because I had a lot going on here. In fact, now that I've got it on here, we'll put it in preview and zoom in. So I did a crosshatch and a line after fill on the shadows. And you see I had the double lines here. Those were to make those letters, as I want them to still look like lines, but to give them a feel so that they showed up as good as, make them look as good as possible. So I had a lot going on there with the Christmas. Then I had the snowflakes, and you see right here what I was talking about. I was like, okay, if the photograph is going to be out here, then I could have actually cut that little piece out, and it would have looked better with all of those little diamonds fully cut out. And you'd have just seen a little bit of the photograph right here. Wouldn't have been that big of a deal. But I didn't like that. I didn't like how small and fragile that was. And if I come down here to the star, you see how it was full there, but when I cut it out, it actually was gone. It burned away, because if we use our ruler and I didn't do it in advance because I was a dum-dum. That's millimeters. It's only about a half a millimeter, 0.6 millimeters, and that just wasn't enough. So you want to be aware of that. Be aware of how thick your pieces are that you're getting ready to subtract from that inner piece to create those appendages sticking out. because if you're too small, they're just going to burn off and you've wasted all your time. But I looked at all this and said, okay, I really want to keep Christmas. I want to keep Christmas, but I didn't want the snowflakes or the tree anymore. And I didn't care for that 2024 down there, because if you're going, this is something else to think about. If you're going to be making product to sell in craft shows and craft fairs, the minute you date it, you better sell it that year, or else you can throw it in the trash after Christmas, because it ain't, unless you could take that and create a third layer with the new year on it, 2025, and glue it right on top of it. So you've added a dimension to it. It wouldn't look terrible. It could look good. But you just created more work for yourself by putting a date on there. And it's now dated. It's got an expiration date. So be careful of that if you're making products to sell in craft shows and craft fairs. Thank you, Tom. Greatly appreciated. Greatly appreciated. And here's some questions while I'm stopped. Is it better to use 10 watt or 20 watt when doing design that have very intricate designs? The lower the power, I try not to speak in absolutes, but this might be an absolute. Typically, the lower the power of the laser, the lower the wattage, the smaller the dot size. The smaller the dot size, the more intricate work you can do. But that's not always a good thing. It is a good thing when you're engraving, whenever you're engraving lines and designs. But when you're cutting out stuff, just because you can cut it out really, really thin doesn't mean you should, because then it just becomes too fragile. And now instead of you cutting it off, 3 weeks later after someone's bought it, it's broken, falling off. So you want to keep some meat to the pieces you're going to be cutting out, and you don't want to create anything that's going to be super weak, especially if you're selling it. If it's for you and your own personal use and you know what to do and how to handle it, and do what you want to do. But I wouldn't do anything super fragile for pieces you're going to sell. Now, make my spot, jump back to Lightburn. All right, so I've got all this. Now I want to keep a lot of that. I don't want it all to go bye-bye. But when I look at it, I'm like, okay, well, I don't want all of the blue layer to go away, because here's some of this blue I want to keep, but this up here I want to get rid of. But what you can do, and right now everything is grouped, so I'm going to ungroup it. And see, now my mouse is back to that straight bar again. And if I select, I've never had this problem until I did 1.7.03. There's my pointer. I don't have a pointer, so I'm like, what? There it is. See, it comes and goes. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if it's something with my operating system or something in Lightburn. If any of you guys have noticed that if any of you are using 1703 or anything, and you're noticing anything funky going on with your mouse, put that in the comment field with some exclamation points. Maybe it's just me and I've just got a gremlin in my system. All right, so I'm going to ungroup. In fact, I'll go ahead and ungroup everything all the way down. All right, now, in the new versions of 1.7, I noticed when you're doing your selector tool, it gives you a light, a kind of a partially fields. Anything that's touching is going to be selected. And I don't want that part of the C right there, those lines. So I'm going to try and stay above that. I'm just going to grab all of these blue. And if I don't fully encompass that blue, if I only just touch it, dragging from left to right, it won't select it. Dragging from left to right, you have to fully encompass that. So I'm trying to get right there. That should be all of the Santa Claus and reindeer and nothing else. And it got that top line. That's good. But looky there, it got part of that C. I want to keep that. I can hold Control and left click, and that deselects it. Holding Control, left click, that deselects it. Now look real careful and make sure that's everything I want gone, and it is. And I'm going to hit the delete key. Gone. Now I can grab these part of the reindeer. Oh, that right there, I don't want to lose. I want to keep that. Now, so yeah, okay. So yeah, a couple of y'all commenting that the mouse does that with, okay. Yeah, and it only does it on part of the toolbar. It doesn't do it on the whole toolbar. It's selective. Like in this area, it usually don't do it, but up here it does do it, and down the side it does. So yeah, it never done it before, Armstat. It's only just started doing that. So all right. So anyway, there's that part of that C I want to keep, and there are a couple ways I can do this, and I'm going to try the scissors tool. I have not played with this a lot, and in fact, when I did my edit, I did not have 1.7 yet, so I didn't have this to experiment with. So I've clicked on my scissors, and I'm going to come over here, and it's not highlighting just that one line, that one segment. So when I cut it, what's it going to do? All right, actually, it looks like it's going to cut everything out. In fact, the line goes solid except for the top of the C, which I want to keep. I want to keep that top of the C, and I want to delete everything else all the way around it. So that looks like it might give me what I want. We'll try it. Done. Yep, that's what I wanted. I wanted to keep that C up there. Now, those I don't know about yet. Here, all right, now see here the scissors won't work because if I try to cut, there you can see it's all solid. It's going to delete that entire piece. There's nowhere that it intersects, so there's no way to do that. So I'm going to go back to what I know works. I'm going to go up here to my toolpath, and I'm going to grab a toolpath and drag it down right here to that corner where that radius ends and say right there. That's where I want that to be because I want to go from a straight line from there over to there. And if I go into node editing now, if I select that outer perimeter and go into node editing, I can just select all those nodes and hit the letter D. The letter D as in David or delete. Do not use the delete button to delete nodes in node editing. The letter D gets rid of those nodes. Now I'm going to zoom in tight and get those there, letter D. And here I got some there and there. Now I've got a straight line all the way across there, and I've got rid of all the Santa Claus. I'll need to fix this up here, and I'm going to turn off the blue. So there's my red piece. That's part of my C that I need welded onto here. And now let's try the scissors again. Again, here we're kind of learning together. Some of you may already know this or already know it don't work. I don't know. We're going to find out. But now that I put those points of intersection, you've got that C and it meets here. If I use the scissors, will it highlight just that? And yes, looky there. It worked. Trim that away. Come over here. Ooh, that goes. Do I want to go? I don't want to go all the way over there. I don't want that. I want to keep that. But let's go back into node editing. Grab that node. In fact, let's turn off the red toolpath. It's in the way. There we go. I need to grab this node. Oh, they did weld it. Weld it back. All right. It did it automatically there. All right. Undo that move. All right. So that's where I want it to be. Over here, I need to get rid of that. Let's try the scissors again. And I don't need to get rid of all of that. But I'm going to go ahead and do that because either way, it's just as easy. If I go ahead and cut it. Actually, that is right. There was copies there. Duh. And get rid of that. And that's good. That worked. All right. So that's connected. Turn off the green layer. Yeah, there's too many there. Get rid of that. And get rid of that. There we go. So now, that easy. The scissors are cool. I have not learned all the ins and outs on it yet, but I just saved that whole piece, got rid of him, didn't have to redesign all that. Now, these are going to be a whole lot easier to get rid of. And we come down here, and let's go to our selector tool, select all of the pieces that are inside pieces and hit the delete button, delete them, select all them, delete them, select all those, delete them, and I'll select all these internal pieces here and delete those. Now, you said, well, you could just put back in a 5x7 less an eighth and you've got your square back. But I don't want to lose all of this up here on my C for my Christmas. So that's why I didn't bother just putting another rectangle in there. And there's always another way. This is just the way I do it. And this, even if this is not the best way and the most efficient way, by seeing these tools that I'm using and how I use these tools, you might find that, ooh, I remember Steve did something and that worked pretty cool. I can use that technique here. This may not be the best way to do what I'm about to show you, but this is how I did it without losing all of my artwork. I like using the toolpaths and node editing. And why I'm stopped, I'm just going to look here. There's my mark. Several of you said yes, doing the same thing with the cursor after 1.7. And Dale and Scott, am I right? You didn't notice it before 1.7, did you? I never saw it do that, ever, ever, ever. It always was my pointer. It's just now started doing that since it did 1.7. Do you agree, or am I imagining that? And I'm going to mark my spot and go back over here to Lightburn and show you how I use these toolpaths to do what I need to do. Switch. So if you come over here to the side of your grid where you have your numbers, your measuring scale, and your cursor turns to the squiggly line, you get your toolpath there. And I'm going to bring my toolpath over to that straight line. I'll grab another one. And I got to turn it on so we can see it. There you go. And I'm going to grab this one that's already up here and drag it to that straight line. Come up here and grab another one, bring it to that straight line. And I'll drag another one over here to that straight line. So now I've got 4 corners. So now if I select that and go to node editing, where are you at? There it is. Just select these nodes, hit the letter D to delete nodes. And I'm going to put one down here by hitting the letter I. And then I can just grab all of these in letter D. Now I can grab that one that I inserted and bring it up here and snap it to that corner. Come down here, select all those, letter D, delete those. I'll leave one instead of having to insert one, delete that, delete those, and grab that node and bring it to that corner snap. Letter D for delete, letter D for delete. I left one, grab it, drag it down. Letter D for delete, leave one. Oh, I left 2. So delete that and drag that up and into place. So now if I turn those all my layers back on, I can turn off my tool. Actually, I can get rid of my tool paths. Go to my selector tool, select those, delete them, select those, delete them. Now turn on the green and the blue. And now you can see, oh, I don't need those blue. Let's grab those and delete button to delete them. Delete all those. And delete all those. So I didn't get that. Delete that. So I didn't have to redesign the entire thing. I got back my Christmas, saved all that artwork, because that was a lot of time to get all of that set up and get the layers set up and get my offsets and the scan angles, the line intervals. And so there was a lot of work represented there. And I didn't want to lose all that. I felt like it was easier just to delete all those. Is there an easier way to do it? Is the scissor tool to make things a lot simpler? It is in 90% of the cases. I just got to get a full grasp of how it works, and then I'm probably going to love it. But I've gotten so good at node editing. I like playing with my nodes. It's kind of like putting your fingers in Play-Doh. It's like, oh, I just like doing that. All right. Questions, comments before I seen that. It never did it before. Okay, yeah, I didn't think so. I didn't think it had done that. And let's see here. Or comments. Let's see. I updated my version from 1.03 or what? Were you Robert? Were you using version 1? Boy, you got a big learning curve if you went from version 1. Because or no, let's see. 1. I mean 1.0. You were using 1.03 to 1. Yeah, from 1.03 to 1.07. Yeah, there's a lot of new stuff. A lot of new stuff. I had to think for a minute. I mean, how many ways did you? Yeah, you got a lot of new stuff. You're gonna like it. Like the scissors tool, I use it all the time in Aspire. It works almost exactly the same in Lightburn. Yeah, I got to figure it out. I got to learn it. Questions and comments. Question: could you use the scissors tool after you place the guidelines to remove the desired artwork? See, I'm thinking, and I don't know, because when you're using scissors, you're cutting. How does it close itself back up if it's not something there? There was a toolpath there, but I didn't have anything else to cut it to, and it closed the shape. So by just deleting the nodes, I never opened the shape. I just deleted the nodes and changed the shape. I don't know. I gotta learn the scissor tool. So that's why I'm telling you right out. I don't fully understand that. All right, so we're hour 20 in. We got 10 minutes to finish this up and show you the 3D effect, and to give this away to some lucky viewer who loves being. You got to have that that sense of humor, that Grinch, or to want to hang a picture of your family and call them the Cranks. If you think that would be fun, or you know what, if you think it's just something that you'd like to win and you might could sell it for a few bucks, hey, I don't care what you do with it. And it's the giveaway's open to everybody in the stream. You got to be present to win, and I don't care where you're at, anywhere in the world, I'll ship it to you. Let's see here. Question or comments. Just updated. The only place it does that is over the fill ins on mine. Mine does it on. If you're talking about the mouse, I don't know if you're talking about the mouse or the scissors, but either way, gotta go. Gotta move on. Let's see here. All right, mark my spot. Yeah, the Griswolds. Yeah, that's another one. I love Chevy Chase and Tim Allen. All of their Christmas stuff is good and fun. All right, so there's my mark. Let's jump back over here. And let's see here. Want to show you the 3D effect. And I've lost my train of thought, but let's grab my ribbons. Ribbons. All right, so I use this ribbon. I'm going to double click it, bring that in here. And here I was looking at it and was like, okay, well, if I stretch this out and bring it up, it's kind of big and bulky there. And if I bring it down here, and I did a kind of the same thing where I added it like the C. Well, now I'm covering up a whole lot of the picture. And if I bring it down far enough that don't cover up a whole lot of picture, then you're starting to lose a lot of the ribbon. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want that either. And some of the best features in some of my designs are from happy little accidents. I'm like, okay, that I didn't plan that, but boy, that sure looks good. And this is one of those. So I got that, and now I'm going to use my less than key to rotate it twice. And now that brings that curvature to the bottom, and I can shrink that down a bit. And I don't remember. Nope. Yeah, I did it like that. And I'm like, okay, I think I did somewhere in there like that. Put it in the center, vertical center. Oh, didn't have it grouped. Way to go, stupid. Grab all that, group it, hold shift, grab the outer perimeter, vertical center. There we go. And I think I actually was a little bit wider. I'm holding control and I'm going to bring that out. And I'll bring it down a little bit. About there. Now, I've still got lots of area for my photograph to pull up. And I've got a place to, plenty of room to put whatever name you wanted to put in there. And here I'm going to I'm going to ungroup this, select that, ungroup it. I'm going to select the outer perimeter and I'm going to duplicate it. I'm not going to bother putting it on a toolpath because I'll know there's two duplicates right there. Now I want to weld that to the entire frame. So I'm going to select both of these, group those, hold my shift button, select one of those I just duplicated, and I didn't select it. Get one. There you go. Nope, it didn't do it. Did I duplicate the whole thing? That should be a single piece. One object. It's not grouped anything. Oh, you know what? And I learned this week too. When you're using Boolean tools, I've told you and mentioned it many, many times, Boolean tools will only work with two objects. But when one or more of those objects consist of multiple objects, then it kind of confuses Lightburn. It's like, yeah, well, we don't know what you're talking about there. So while I've got, when we look back over here, we've got one object selected with those two, the inner and outer perimeter, but there's a whole lot more going on up here with these pieces. So if I select that right now and I ungroup it, and then now just take those two and group those, it should work. So that, and hold shift and select that. No, it still didn't work. Oh boy. I did this. You know how I know I did this? Because it's right here. I did this and now I'm drawing a complete blank. We'll try the subtraction. No, none of the Booleans are coming up. Back over here. And solo. I'm going to put one of those on a toolpath and turn it off just so I know I've only got one there. Maybe this is what's grouped with something. Nope, that's solo. So if I select that one and that one, I get my Boolean tools, but I should be able to select that and see if there's anything with this one. No. So if I do that and that, yeah, see, I'm not getting my Boolean tools there. Oh, you know what it is? The other times that you can have problems when you're trying to do that is when one of the shapes is open. So I edited that out of the perimeter out there. And when some of those clicked automatically, and when you're seeing when I went to move that node, it moved, it auto joined. Apparently not all of them joined. So that shape is open. So to verify that with just that outer shape selected, it looks like everything is closed and all of those ants are chasing. And turn off that blue so we can see that. Yep. So all of those are chasing and everything looks like it's right, and it doesn't appear to be open anywhere. But if you come up here to edit, if you have the option to close path, it's not closed. And you can close it by simply clicking on close path. And now when you look at that and group those and then select that shape there, now I have my Boolean tools. So that's why it wasn't working, is that open path. It didn't appear to be open. Everything was connected. It just wasn't closed. Now, you've seen me click on close path and it closed it up and it worked. We're going to get to that giveaway because we're at 90 minutes. But I'm going to show you this one other alternative, and then I'm going to show you the shadow effect, then we're going to give this away. And I'm going to go get a drink because I forgot to bring it here. And my throat's, I need my RC. In fact, you know what? I wonder if this will help. Let's see here. Let me grab this. I don't have my soda, but let's see if this RC will help. All right. Let's look at this other alternative. So I'm going to undo. I want to get back to where that was showing closed path as an option. So I didn't go back far enough. Undo, undo. Well, is that far enough? Nope. Undo, undo, undo. Edit. Apparently, I still didn't go back far enough. Or it ain't going to let me undo the close. Come on, baby. There it is. All right, so closed path is an option. So I had, in trying to look at those and seeing that when I realized that it wasn't a closed path, instead of going up there and looking for a closed path and going down and selecting closed path or using it, what is the shortcut for closed path? Is there one closed path? No, there's not a shortcut for closed path. Another alternative you can do is to simply do a 0 offset. So I had already determined that that was not a closed path. So just go here to offset tool, do a 0 offset, delete the original and say, okay. And now when I hold my shift key and grab that and group it, and then hold my shift key and grab that, well, that just made a liar out of me. A 0 offset almost always closes a path. Why didn't it close that path this time? Why? Because we're live. Or did I do something else wrong? Let's go back and look. Singular. That's not grouped. That's not grouped. Edit. And I know you can't see my screen right now. Yeah, it didn't close a path. I don't know why. Almost always a 0 offset will close a path, but it didn't work. Why? Because I tried to show you something different. While I'm stopped, looks like I've seen some questions looking here. There's my mark. Question, Andy. I might be misremembering, but were you going to send out T-shirts to channel? Yep, Andy, and you must have been a little bit late. And I will address that again too after I do the giveaway, so that for the folks who have already heard it and don't want to be here for the reminder of that, I'll go over it again. So if you are a channel member on YouTube and you want to know about your T-shirts, hang around after the giveaway and I'll go over that again. Is RC paying you for your no? No, Valerie, I tell you what, I drink my RC, and this was a gift. I think, was it Carl? Did you send this? Carl, are you in the stream tonight? Yeah, but this was a gift from one of the viewers, and I drink the RC cola because I like cola. I can't afford Pepsi. I can't afford Coke. RC is made local here in my hometown, miserable city of Gastonia, North Carolina. It's made and bottled here locally. I'm sure it's bottled in other areas too. But if you may look on your bottle top and see that your RC Cola is made here in Gastonia. But in addition to it being bottled locally, our local dollar store, Dollar Tree, the Dollar Tree, they sell the 2 liters for $1.25. Everything's gone up. Inflation's got a hold of Dollar Tree too. So it's $1.25, but you can buy a 2 liter for $1.25. And that same 2 liter at the grocery store is darn near $4 or $3. It's nuts. So that's why I buy all the RC. I can get them for $1.25 piece, and I just love cola. All right. Question. I seen that, Carl. Can't you just select the inner frame and the ribbon and then Boolean? Yeah, there's always another way. You can get the same result I'm looking for here by doing that. There's always, and that's why I show a lot of times you can weld it to two shapes or subtract it from one shape. And I was trying to weld it to two instead of subtract it from one. So yes. Yes, Tom, Murphy's Law. It will get you, it'll get you, it'll get you. Let's see. I'm marking my spot. And Armstead, when you're getting by from video to video, and I'm not exaggerating, you shop for everything. All right, so back over here. Let's just close that real quick. Do the close path like we had. Close path. Weld or group those. Hold my shift button, select that outer piece, and weld it. And that's done. Now turn that toolpath back on. Oh, there. I didn't want all those. Where'd you guys come from? That was another project I'm working on. I forgot they were even there. In fact, I'll just get rid of that for now. Bye-bye. All right, so now I've got this back on here. And you know what I forgot to do? The exact thing that I told you very, very first in the video. So you latecomers are getting to see what I told everybody to do that I didn't do, and why you need to do what I told you to do that I didn't do. And David, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, and Mark, zero offset almost always closes my open shapes. I do it all the time. In fact, sometimes when I'm having a problem, instead of trying to identify where the problem's at, I will just ungroup everything, select everything, do a zero offset, especially if there's like 20 or 30 possibilities. I just select it all, do a zero offset of all, delete the original of all, and the problem goes away. It works a lot of the time. Obviously, it doesn't work all the time, but it works a lot of the time. So let's mark. Again, thank you, David. Thank you very much. Mark that spot and jump back over here to Lightburn, because I got to undo what I just did to show you what you should have done that I didn't do that I told you to do in the beginning. Did you follow that? All right, so undo. All right, see, I need this for engraving. And because I got rid of my original piece now, do I have all my toolpaths on? Yeah, so I don't have I didn't make a copy. So I got to undo that weld. There we go. And then we'll go ahead and turn that toolpath back on and get rid of those guys. Bye, guys. All right. So I'm going to select that inner one, Control D, duplicate it, put it on a blue toolpath, and turn that toolpath off. So I've got a copy of that. But I want this part of it to engrave. All right. And when you want to engrave lines on that outer perimeter, I found that it's easier to create those engraved lines first. So if I select both of those, and I didn't get it over here, so I'm going to hold my shift, grab that one. You know what? I need all of it just for heck of it. I'm just gonna grab all of that, and we'll go ahead and group it. Control D, duplicate it, put it on toolpath 2. Don't know if I'm going to need it, but it's gone. Now I've got the original and this original. So I'm going to do cut shapes. Here, and this might be a case where you could use the scissors and get the same result. But I'm going to use cut shapes. I've got my original piece, hold my shift button, select that inner perimeter, Alt-Shift-C for cut shapes. And now I'm going to select this inner piece that is not selected now and hit the delete button to delete it. So these are the lines that I want to engrave. All right. So I'd put those on whatever layer I've got for engraving. And it looks like it was maybe the blue line because I had it turned off. Yeah. And now to get those extra wide or wider so that they look good, I would select those again, do the offset of a half of my dot size, 0.04. No, I'm in inches, not in millimeters. Cancel that. Let's go over here to millimeters, offset out, or do both, and a 0.04 or outward will work. 0.04, delete the original, say okay. So that, and then that's in line. That's once it goes into fill, that'll be good and prominent. Turn those back on. Now I will, and here's what was it Carl was saying, you could use the Boolean tools. And so instead of doing the weld, I'll select the inner perimeter, select that toolpath, and subtract that from that, and that gives me that. And put that on the red cut path. And that would give you a result, and that would cut out. And actually, you know what? I don't want that to cut out. So I'm going to ungroup that. Forgot about my ribbon. I want that to be left. I want that solid. And actually that would be, and this is what I wouldn't want. I didn't want to get lost in the weeds doing design work. I just wanted to show you the techniques on how to weld those pieces in. And I've shown you that in a couple different ways. And if you didn't grasp it, you can always back it up and watch it. We need to wrap this up, give away this frame, and cover the t-shirts. But I went from editing the mistake there, delete that, to that finished piece. Oh, and I didn't show you how to do that 3D. I'm going to show you that real fast because it's real easy, real simple. If I take, move this out the way, move this out the way. And you know what? I don't even need to do that. I'll just show you the artwork. I had the artwork here. Take your outermost piece, Control D, duplicate your outermost piece. Then with your move functions, and they changed all this on me. There's my move. I've got my control arrow set at an 1/8 of a millimeter. So I've got that one selected. I'm gonna hold control, and I'm gonna zoom in so you can see it. I'm gonna just start arrowing up just ever so slightly, about there. And I'm gonna put that on a layer that's in fill mode. And I'm going to duplicate that right there. Again, Control D, duplicate it. And then I'm going to select, or that it's already selected. And I'm gonna hold my shift button and grab that one that's in fill and go Control B for my Boolean assistant. And which one do I want? I don't want that. I don't want that. I don't want that. But that gives a different effect. That's the one I want right there. And say okay. And so that creates a shadow of, for me, it looks like that's a shadow, or this piece, the lower piece, is raised up. And to wrap your text, what I do is draw me a line. I come in here on this piece and I find my middle point right there. Start drawing a line. I come over here and find my middle point over here right there. Then go into node editing, select that line, and hit the letter M and then the letter S for smooth, MS. That puts a node in the middle, and the S turns it to a curve. So now I can select that node, hold my control and my down arrow button, and start bending that line until I get it to about in the middle of that, about that there. And you see that it's got a funky little turn up right there. Well, if you just grab this tangent of and just bring it down to where it overlaps right on top of the line, that straightens out your curve. And now put that on a toolpath. And then you put your text in there, whatever your text is going to be. Boo boo. Give it some, and then put it on another layer. Hold my shift button, select that toolpath, apply path to text, and that's going to wrap it there. And if it's not, if you're not getting the result you're looking for, like that looks like it's too curved. Well, all you got to do is I'm going to come over here and select just that toolpath, go back to node editing, and I want to select my outer node here and this outer node here, using my control and my down arrow button, start bringing that down, and that'll change that curve. The center is where I want it to be. So I'll just move that around to where it's like, that looks like that looks a little bit better. And that's good. Done. All right. So that's how I create a shadow behind an image. And that's how I apply my text and then edit it to get it to fit, because a duplicate arc, because your fonts are irregular. I've mentioned it before in videos. Fonts that have a curve to them, an arch, and like the letter S, anything that has a curve, the letter O, they can really affect your alignment with text. So I will use a path that is perfectly positioned right in the center of where I want it to be, but then using my eyeballs, just because it says it's centered and it may be perfect, go with what looks good. Find those nodes, move them to where you need to. And if you're moving them on either side at the same time, you keep everything symmetrical. All right, now for the giveaway. And again, I don't care where you're at. Everybody that's watching right now has a chance to win this. It is set up to hold a 5x7. And I would love whoever wins it. Once you've made your photograph and you've created your, if if you keep it. And again, I don't care if you win it and sell it. I don't care. It is branded though. It's branded with my brand and made in Gastonia. But I don't care what you do with it. But if you keep it and you put your photograph in it, I'd love it if you'd email me a picture of and make it a funny photograph, because it's the Cranks. It should be something humorous that is a conversation piece at your house. Send me a picture of it and put it in the Hobo with Wood Facebook group. It'd be funny. Now, for your chance to win, and I'm going to put it in a banner. I'm going to create a banner. And I need to get over here and over here and over here. And yep. Create a banner. Hashtag. And you're going to need to do it like I have in this banner. Add banner. Show banner. Oh, that'll work. Hashtag crank. Not yet. If you started doing it, stop. Because I haven't started yet. Now. Hashtag crank. In fact, there we go. I didn't realize to do that. Hashtag crank. And we see we got one entry. We got one of you. There we go. 7 of you is interested. We can turn that off. Hide that. And switch back. Y'all would much rather look at this. You've seen what you need to type in. Man, I need my RC. In fact, while this is counting up, I'm gonna go look and see if I've got one here in the shop. Oh. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Oh boy. And now I can lose that RC. I got the real thing, baby. $45 entries. And entering more than once doesn't help you. Duplicate entries are erased. So just enter one time. And just for giggles, folks, I see some of you and I'll put it back on the screen. Francis did the capital David did the capital. Karen did the lowercase, and I don't know that it matters, but if you did do a lowercase, see, Jim Creative did the same thing, and that's what Connie said. Not sure if it's cap sensitive. I'm not sure either, but just in case, go back and do it as you see it, because this is their last name. It's a crank, capital C. Now, there's been a whole lot of entries going on, and so if you've had a question or a comment that I have not seen and you want me to address it, once this giveaway is over, repost it, because with all of these streaming comments, they're gone. I haven't seen them. I'll address those, and I'll address the t-shirts and the YouTube memberships again for the ones who didn't see it in the beginning. Just so you know, people who watch on mobile have a hard time seeing the banner. I'm guessing that the majority are not watching on mobile, but I do understand. And there it is, full screen, so that should be easier to see. Oh, my goodness. All right, we're up to 52 entries, and it looks like we've stopped. We will give it just about 30 more seconds, and then we will draw a winner and move on. In fact, I'm going to mark this. All right, so there's a question. Did you happen to find the reason 107, 101 put the go to? Did you happen to find the reason? Put the go to home. Find the reason. Huh? I'm lost. I think that's an incomplete thought, or there's a word or two missing. Did you happen to find the reason this version put the go to home button? Try again. The place. I didn't even bother with any trying to figure out. Oh, I'm glad you did mention or bring that up, because I meant 1.7.01 made my XW try to go home top left. All right. And I'm glad you brought this up, because I meant to mention this in the beginning, and there's more people watching now, so this is a good thing we'll talk about this now. When I talked to Joe at Lightburn Support, he was completely unaware of all the problems that the Rolly owners were experiencing. And I think that's because a lot of you went to the Rolly Automation Facebook group and to Dimitri, because what I understood, Dimitri almost disappeared because he was inundated and slammed with problems after problems after problems after the 1.7 version update. Everybody with Lightburn, or everybody with the Rolly and Lightburn, was contacting Dimitri for support when it was a Lightburn issue and not a laser issue. And Dimitri was able to figure out a lot of it and fix some of it. But the problem with that is, when there's a problem with Lightburn and you don't report it to Lightburn, they don't realize just how bad of a problem it is, or if it was a laser specific issue, they don't know about it. So when you have a problem, even if you figure it out yourself, even if you resolve the issue, go over to Lightburn Support and send them an email describing your problem. Have you fixed it? Have you not? Make them aware of it, because, and you know, we're not complaining. We're just bringing it to their attention, because they can't fix something that they don't know it's not broken. And whenever I said, I asked Joe in the email, I said, hey, have we killed all the gremlins? Is it safe for me to go to 1.7 yet? And he's like, what gremlins? There was a problem with the camera, but I don't know of anything else. What other problem? And I said, man, people having all kind of problems. Preferences gone, this gone, all kinds of issues. But he said he didn't know anything about any of that because he knew about the camera, but nothing else. So when you have a problem, go send Lightburn support an email about the problem, even if you get it resolved elsewhere. If I've helped you, if Dimitri's helped you, if anybody's helped you, make sure you're letting them know that this problem happened and how you resolved it if you did. Yeah, Dimitri got killed. This was the issue you tried to help me with yesterday. And John, I remember but yours wasn't a Rolly, was it? Yours was the O-Tour? Man, I talked to so many people and so many issues and so many problems, and I'm happy to do it, that they all run together sometimes. And plus this stroke-riddled brain, while sometimes I can pull stuff out, I don't always recall things that great. So let's give away a frame. All right. So Omtech. Okay. In a perfect world, Dimitri should have contacted Lightburn. I can see both sides of that. Yeah, he can say, hey, look, but here's the problem with that. Armastat. Dimitri contacting him, Lightburn, and saying, hey, we're experiencing a problem. He's one guy calling or emailing saying, hey, we're having a problem. But if Lightburn support received 100 emails from 100 people, it would hold more weight. So everybody having the problem, and Joe told me he doesn't care how trivial it is. They want to know about a problem, because even if it's a problem where it's cockpit error, that this person's having a problem getting this to work or figured out, well, they appreciate learning that, well, this isn't that intuitive, or that people are struggling or having hurdles. So no, the more people that contact them, the better. Dimitri could have and probably did, but it would have had more weight if everybody would have contacted them direct instead of one person. Because when I mentioned it to Joe, he's like, I ain't heard nothing. Well, I'm one voice telling him, but I know for a fact that there have been tons of people in the Rolly Automation group complaining about problems. Everybody should contact Lightburn support when there's an issue. And they welcome it. They want to hear it. Okay, let's jump over here and give away the frame. Auto. We're going to hit draw. We got 54 entries. Where, oh, where? JM Creative Studio. JM Creative Studio. Congratulations. You are the lucky winner of a piece of wood. Email me. hobowithwood@gmail.com. hobowithwood@gmail.com. Your information. In fact, I want you to go do that now so that I can confirm I've received it. Because if I don't get your information, I will draw again and give it away. Somebody's going to get this thing. So email me, jump over to your email real quick, hobowithwood@gmail.com, and send me your shipping information. Why nepotism? I don't know who that is. I'm not related to them. So there ain't no nepotism involved. All right. Now, while I'm waiting for that email, and if you guys are going to jump off here, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for hanging out with me. We're at 2 hours. I was shooting for 90, but we're going to wrap it up here. But I'm going to address a couple of house cleaning things about the YouTube memberships and the t-shirts. And if you have any unresolved questions about what you've seen tonight, now's the time to put it in the comments. In fact, I'm going to mark this spot. If you have any comments or questions that I have not addressed or posted, do it now from this spot. I'll see it. To the YouTube memberships, thank you for doing what you did. The YouTube memberships, the folks that signed up, I think there was about 67 people, and that was enough. It was $10 a person for everybody that signed up, bonus money. So that was $670 in bonus money. I got the original $1,000 that I got as bonus for just turning on the memberships. So, and the total bonus monies from YouTube, it was $1,670 that I got from YouTube. The money that you paid for your memberships, the $10 a month, I wanted you to do 3-month commitment. You spent $30, and I'm going to send you a new t-shirt. The new t-shirt design is going to say Hobo Nation instead of Hobo with Wood, Hobo Nation, and have the Hobo logo, just the little Hobo guy there. It'll be Hobo Nation across the top, and then underneath it, it'll say Laserologist. Hobo Nation, Laserologist. And if you have met your 3-month commitment, cut off your YouTube membership. Stop it. Because it's a waste of money. YouTube keeps, I think it's 20% of the money that you pay in. If you wanted to spend $10 a month supporting me, and I appreciate it, go over to Patreon right there and do the 10-month commitment there, which gets you 80% off all of my digital files on hobowithwood.com. And that file, this file is on hobowithwood.com now. And I've got it on there for only $1.95. So all of this work that you've seen is on there, and it's on there with the cranks. You get it just like you see it here. So, but that of course you can edit that, make it say whatever you want it to say. But stop your YouTube membership if you've met your $30 commitment. I'm having the t-shirts printed up now, and I will, I'm having the screen designed and ready for the t-shirts. What I also need from the 61 members of YouTube, I need you to email me, put it in the subject line, t-shirt size. And, put in, and that's the subject line, t-shirt size. And then go down into the body of the email and put me your shipping information and your preferred size of t-shirt. And I will get your specific size printed up and get it mailed out to you. And those should be there before the end of the year. But get all your shipping information, get them screened and printed. I'll have them all shipped out as soon as possible. Now, comments. Well, thank you, sir. It's my first haircut in almost 2.5 years. First professional haircut in quite some time. Thank you. I appreciate you hanging out and being with me. Thank you. Appreciate it. You're a Carl, is that a karaokeologist? Are you a singer? How do you stop it? You should be able to just go to your log into your YouTube and just hit cancel membership. It should be just a simple button you click on to cancel it. When you cancel, you are good until the end of your 30 days. Yeah, once they've taken your payment, they're not going to refund that. If you've made 3 payments of $10, cancel it before they can bill you a 4th time. Once you've hit 3 payments of $10, cancel that membership. Won't you need all the members to? Yeah, I got there. You just posted it before I did. There's no deadline at this time. This was a special circumstance for and those who are in the 67 members are aware of what was going on there. That's why they did what they did. Thanks. I learned a lot, but we'll have to watch it a few more times to remember some of it. Yeah, I tried to keep it simple. And let me check my email. Let me go over here and look and see if I've heard my buzzer going off, but let me make sure I got J&M's information here. Okay, there's a t-shirt email. I'll put a star on that. Membership, good. Just a star on that. Scott's, Catherine's. YouTube telling me I'm live. Good thing that they sent me that. Delete. I got Scott's, got Catherine's. Get rid of that. Okay, is this it? Okay, JM Creative Studio. Hi there. I am in Australia. Woohoo! I will send you my address shortly. Okay. And it does come from the email JM Creative Studio. So I know we have confirmed winner who's claimed their t-shirt, but for whatever reason, well, I guess maybe she's not sure where she wants to ship it to. And I say she because Jody's Jodie, and here in the US, IE would be a female Jody. I don't want to assume you're a female, but I'm assuming you're a female. Either way, it's irrelevant. Give me your shipping information and I will get that out to you. And I'm going to put a star by that so I know where. Inbox, star. And Jack, if you're still in this stream, and yeah. I see your comment right there. Sent you an email. Jack says, can we get together sometime next week when you're free? I need some help setting up my Chuck rotary. My old brain just won't let me get it right. I'm using the O-Tour Chuck. I can try and help you with the O-Tour Chuck rotary. There may be some things about it that may be a little bit different, but because of the setup, because of the big trick with and this is where I think Clack has, I think, a lot of jigs for his lasers that do not have pre-positioned places to place your rotary. Like the Rollies, they've got a locating pins in the bed of the laser that position the rotary in a very specific place. And it's all programmed in. You know exactly where the start is. You don't have to go figure it or find anything. It has been so long since I've done one without pre-positioning. I can try and help figure it out with you, and I'll be happy to work through it with you. Tomorrow is my day to. So one day next week, send me an email and we'll do like we did past week, where we can connect online and get it figured out together. Is there a size range? Whatever size you need. Since I'm going to be ordering these and making these custom specific. I don't know that I'm going to be doing. I might be doing more of these that I can just sell. Period. So there'll be a Hobo with Wood Laserologist t-shirts available. I don't know, but whatever size you need, you send it to me in your email, and I will be sure and purchase that size and print that size specific for you. And these shirts that I use are butter. They're the name brand is Next Level, and boy, they're like butter. They're smooth, super soft. Question, will this pattern be available? It's already available. Picture frame, switch. This was already online before I went live tonight. It's already on the website, and it's only $1.95. And if you are a patron, gold, you get it for free at $1.95, 60% or 80% off on bronze and silver. But even at $1.95 for non-patrons, you see how much work went involved to get that to where it's at. I wouldn't do all that for $1.95. I'll spend $1.95 because it's already done. It's light burn ready and it's super easy. You know, my stuff's usually pretty good, but it's oh, I didn't show you the screen. There it is. It's already available. So if you go over to hobowithwood.com, it's there. And the images, why isn't that coming up? Something funky going on there. Got to figure that out. But it's there. Oh, and also I put the link to the photo protectors. I've got links there for the ones that I use for my 4x6 and my 5x7. I do strongly recommend using those in your frames for your photos. Do questions. I got Karen's. Yes, it's on the site now. Yes. All right. Very good. So already half the viewers we've already lost because they already got what they needed and they're done and gone. And I'm glad they were here. And I thank you guys for being here. I'm late. What did I miss? Everything. Nothing important. Nothing at all. Greg thought it was going to be another 5-hour show. Yeah, and like that's why I didn't do Greg. I did not do a design specific piece in this video, but I showed the steps that you need to know to be able to create artwork like this, to where you've got pieces, that are integrated in the interior of the frame, and how to create the shadow effects and the 3D effects with the graphics. I showed all that, and then I gave this away. One lucky viewer is going to receive this, and of all places, they're in Australia. That's not the right. What is that? That's not the right dialect, or that's not the right. They in down under. They down yonder somewhere. I got to send this to Australia. But you missed it all, my friend. You missed it all. Let's see. Andy says, I signed up for membership shortly after you asked, and the 2 payments made to YouTube were September and October. Third payment will be November. Maybe wait till your third payment. Once you've made 3 payments, cancel. Don't let them, and I'm saying that because they keep too much of the money. And then I had a lot of people who are patrons who signed up on YouTube so they can get the t-shirt and to help me get the bonus. So, and that's what it was. I'm playing their game. This whole idea was to get their bonus money. You're buying a t-shirt in 3 monthly installment payments. And that $30 includes the cost of your shirt and the freight, the shipping, no matter where it's got to go in the world. So, all right. Thank you, guys. We're going to call it. We're going to wrap it. Appreciate you all. Always, always, always thank you. Tim, thanks for hanging out. Thanks. And I hope what we talked about earlier helped you out. And I think you're going to have a really good time learning how to use your Rolly. Y'all have a good night. Don't know what next week is going to hold, because I didn't know this was what we were going to do last Saturday until Tuesday. I figured, hey, this is going to be a good stream. Y'all have a good night. In stream. Bye-bye.